Good evening. Welcome home to First Christian Church of Decatur. My name is Daniel Brower. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the associate pastor here at First Christian Church. Welcome to our 601 Wednesday check-in and meditation. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for your patience with the on-again, off-again nature of 601 here lately. I know that a lot of folks really look forward to this time, whether you're here in the chat right now or you're watching it back tomorrow or Saturday or Monday or even the Wednesday after this one. Believe it or not, I look forward to this too, even with the inconsistency and all the technical difficulties. You know, when James went on leave, he told me that he didn't have any expectations as far as 601 goes. You can do it or not do it, whatever works for you. Just don't worry about it. And I appreciate his commitment to my work-life balance, and I really appreciate the lack of pressure. But I felt like it was important to keep doing 601 at least semi-regularly. There's just something about maintaining a routine when everything else is shifting that is reassuring. You know, we may not know what the future holds, we may not know what's coming next, but one thing I can count on is that preacher with the funny hair is going to be live on Facebook on Wednesday night. You know what I mean? Stability in a time of transition is a really valuable thing. I've been thinking a lot lately about one of my favorite verses from Deuteronomy 33, verse 27. The eternal God is your dwelling place, and underneath are the everlasting arms. It's the best kind of Bible verse, really. It's poetic and it's reassuring. Can't beat that. The end of the book of Deuteronomy is Moses wrapping up his recap of what had happened to the children of Israel up to that point and preparing them to carry on into the promised land. Moses, however, was not going to go with them. Israel was going forward into a new place with a new leader and leaving behind everything that they had been familiar with for the past 40 years. Now, granted, those 40 years had not been sunshine and rainbows. They had been really difficult with a lot of trials and challenges, but at least they'd all been together. And at least Moses was there. But now all of that was about to change. One can imagine that some of the people, a lot of the people probably, might have been feeling a little bit uncertain. In the midst of this, Moses reminds them of their history. He walks them through the covenants and the promises that God had made and the wonders that God had done before their very eyes. He blesses each tribe in turn, speaking a future over them where they could not see one for themselves. And Moses finishes this long pronouncement by reminding them of the one thing that they could be sure of in the midst of this turbulence: God. There is no one like our God, Moses proclaims. God will go ahead of you and clear the path before you. Who is like God, and who is like unto you, the people of God? And then, in my favorite part, Moses reminds them of who God is for them. God is eternal, which means that God's presence will not end, even if it feels like everything around them is ending. God is their dwelling place, which means that no matter where their physical bodies end up at the end of the day, their spirits can find rest in God. And underneath are the everlasting arms, which means that even when the bottom falls out and everything goes sideways, God is faithful to catch them and set them on the right path again. Now, you may be able to see where I'm going with this. There are some parallels to the things that we are going through in our own lives. And I'm not just talking congregationally, but in our personal lives as well. Just as the church is going through a shift, so are a lot of the rest of us. It might feel like everything we've known for the past years is coming unstuck and unmoored. Everything is unsteady and nothing is certain, if it ever was. But in the midst of this uncertainty, we have each other. This past weekend, we had the privilege of gathering together to honor the life of our beloved pastor and friend, Pastor James. And we did exactly what Moses did for the people of Israel. We spoke about the things that God had done in our lives through the life of our friend and leader who was no longer with us. We talked about the things that we had seen and experienced and the covenants that we had made with one another. And in the midst of all of this uncertainty, there is one thing that is certain. The eternal God is your dwelling place, and underneath are the everlasting arms. God will not falter or fail us. God will be a safe place for us. And God will continue to hold us fast, even as we go through new and different experiences that are unfamiliar and might be a little bit scary. I hope that wherever you are right now, wherever you're listening to this, that you feel secure and that you feel safe. I'm glad to have this little island of stability in a sea of technical difficulties and changing timelines and just stuff that keeps happening all the time, a lot. I'm glad we got to see each other, even virtually, just for a minute and touch base. I hope to see you again soon, maybe even this Sunday. We are still worshiping in the fellowship hall. It's still 10:25, and we're still both in person and online. So if you're online, I won't see you. If you're in person, I hope to see you. But you know what? Whether I do or not, just remember, God made you special. God loves you very much. And so do I. Have a good night, everybody.